In the Hearts and Minds, Book 0, The Birth of a Hero, Story 22, Time is Stop. Private Hamilton tilted her head, loose waves stopping at her chin. She didn't wear the uniform like any other frosted Iago had ever seen. Her chest was full, the jacket too small to cover it. Her stomach seeped out in a thin band of tan, and was that metal? Iago assumed it was a choice. The idea of some non-frosted superior trying to humiliate this monster with undersized clothing was more laughable than terrifying. Whatever it was, it showed off the skeletal frame and the loose skin of something dead and reanimated. It was more honest. That was exactly what had been done to her. I don't know what you're talking about. Pinata let out a boiling whistle of frustration. Her hands grabbed at her long hair, eyes wild and hard. Iago felt like he was looking in a mirror. He had made the wrong decision. He could see that now. Can you see them or can't you? Pinata demanded. They've suffered enough. How dare you hurt them even worse? Varti Hamilton's eyes were like milky caramel, dancing against the fires. If she'd been healthier, she could almost be mistaken for Pinata's older cousin. They shared the same kinked hair, the same thick eyebrows. See? I don't see anything, she responded slowly, taking in the inferno like she was judging holiday decorations. I have the power to stop whatever I want. Stop, Iago repeated, but Pinata went further. How do you stop a ghost? Private Hamilton said, both brows raised. You see ghosts. Is that how you were able to escape the basement? Pinata breathed like an enraged cow separated from her calf. The more she spiraled, the more Iago felt calm. He knew how to end this, but before he got a chance, one of the bluesies edged out of the crowd. No! Pinata yelled, shooing the creature away. Get away from her! Get away! But the bluesie drifted ever onward. It stopped, eventually, puddling forward as if Varti Hamilton was a magnet. That's my wife, it said. That's my Varti. Pinata gasped, and Iago remembered the story of a bluesie who had once reached out, breaking through their in-between world to stop a relative from eating sugar that was spiked with the same chemicals that made the frosted. That was back when Truvia shipped their rotten sugar out, waiting to see who would awaken on their own without being steeped. She had gone to the doctor for help with hallucinations and been turned into a frosted anyway. It was a story from before the bluesies had met Pinata, 15-ish years ago. Was she always like this? Iago asked, but the bluesie shook his head. No, he said, form quivering. After her steeping, sometimes she's the old Varti, just quieter. I see her folding her napkins in exactly 8 squares and wearing that old headscarf she liked. But then sometimes it's like she's a machine, like one of those big things that makes the rotten sugar. I don't understand the change, but I haven't seen her in so long. I thought she changes, Iago repeated, but only sometimes. I get it, Pinata said evenly. The abruptness was so startling that Iago's chin whipped instinctually toward her. She said she can stop anything she wants. Well, what if she wants to stop feeling? Or stop caring? The bluesie gasped, a sound like a knife entering a cutting board. Out here, they were all dulled blades, left forgotten in some dusty drawer. At least, that was what Iago had thought. He should have known that wouldn't be enough to save them. So that's how it is. His pinata dared a step forward, hand secured around the bump. Iago's entire body primed in a way that made him feel on the very uppermost cusp of life. Had he ever been able to feel his breath move through his body, the blood pumping in his veins like this before? You turn off your emotions, Pinata challenged, so you can kill innocent people without worrying. Private Hamilton dipped her entire chin toward Pinata. The movement was so eerie, Iago felt this person couldn't have been human, not ever. He could feel it in his very soul. Now. He needed to act now. Dolphin, his longest, oldest friend, turned its leafy triangle just as he turned his neck to meet its lack of a gaze. Still, he knew this plant could read him just as easily as if it had eyes. They were bound together by their roots, after all. Go to her. The pain didn't hurt, because Iago felt an outpouring of certainty so strong it buffered his foot against the ache of having each one of Dolphin's roots disentangle themselves from his veins and rip out of his body. Before today, could Iago have said that the plant would survive outside of his skin and travel freely just like any other animal? No. He'd pruned pieces of each of them off before, but they always grew back. They'd never left him entirely. Everything he'd once thought immutable had changed. Dolphin sped across the char and dust like a levitating snake. On Iago's forearm, Rowley spread faster than it had ever spread, coalescing into a leafy shield, each petal intricately linked and braided together. Varti Hamilton paused, drawing in a deep, slow breath. Iago didn't know what was coming, but he raced anyway. From the corner of his eye, he could see Pinata's bluesies gesturing. Right. It's been loaded, Fizz shouted, for once their statuesque form quivering in something flame-like. Each beat they fizzed out just like the fires, blue, then gone, then blue again. Little Jackery exploded upward like a cascade of confetti, following Fizz with, "It's coming!" Rowley and Iago met the grenade just as Dolphin wrapped its snaky form around Pinata's wrist, hauling her into the tall grass. There was a pause when Iago met Private Hamilton's eyes, and he thought he heard Pinata shout, "No!" But the moment passed as his leafy shield caught the beehive of death. So quickly he didn't even look. He transferred it to his free hand and shot it back at the Frosted, who reeked of carnage. She didn't flinch. The grenade exploded in the air on its arc toward her, but the waves, the energy, the pieces all froze mid-explosion. Iago's breath left his body. Varti Hamilton didn't even look at it. It just stopped. This is what had happened to those two bluesies. What did it mean? Iago picked up a rock that may have actually been a broken rifle and threw it as a distraction before diving into the grass. He knew 3 of his cousins had fled this way. Perhaps they had dropped something he could use. "It's not going to work," the devil called. "Nothing you have is going to work on me."